There's a guy named Robert Kiger. He runs a Super-PAC for Donald Trump. He actually interviewed me at Politicon. You can check out that interview. At the time, he was just asking me questions. He seemed harmless. Well, now I've seen him on CNN with Costello talking about how Donald Trump supporters beat up a black activist at a rally in Birmingham, Alabama. And not only did he excuse it, he seemed to justify it at the very least, but Donald Trump's justifying it. So I guess that's not surprising that his Super-PAC man would also be backing it up. But then he said something that went, I think, way over the top, but he doesn't even realize it. Let's watch.
So your thoughts on what happened over the weekend?
From my perspective, I'm sick and tired of the Black Lives Matter thing. I think it's a farce. I think they're just there to disrupt. If
What
they
do you
really
think is a
care
farce?
about, if they really care about black lives, they need to pick up a banner and go to the south side of Chicago, where black lives are being slaughtered on a daily basis. If they really care about the African American community, get up there and do something about it.
So they don't have the right to protest at a Trump rally?
Well, no, they don't, really. Nobody
This is
needs,
America.
I wouldn't go into a black church and start screaming "White Lives Matter." I mean, people are trying to elect a president.
Would you be afraid that they would beat you up?
People, yeah, I know I'd get beat up. And let me tell you something. People are trying
in a black church.
People are trying. I'm sure if I started disrupting their sermon and was obnoxious as this guy apparently was, yeah, I would probably be afraid I might get at least thrown out and roughed up. Yeah.
Did you miss what the members in South Carolina of that church said about the man who opened fire inside of a church?
Excuse me?
Never mind. I won't go there.
Well, first of all, you should have gone there. There was a black church that a white person was welcome into down in South Carolina, and he opened fire on them, and he killed 9 of them. And even afterwards, they talked about forgiveness for him and his family. So my guess is no, they're not the violent ones. They're not going to rough you up. Okay, all right, put aside what happened in South Carolina. Look at this guy's assumption. This is some portion of our voters in America. They think that if you went to a black church, they'd assault you in the church. Oh, there's a white guy. Oh, he said something I don't like. Let's go beat him up. Let's rough him up. That's mental. That's unbelievable that he thinks that. But they do. They're so afraid of black people. It's amazing. You remember the time Bill O'Reilly was talking about when he went to dinner in Harlem with Al Sharpton, and he said, oh my God, they were actually polite and civil in a restaurant. It's a famous restaurant in Harlem. He said, there was nobody saying, get me an iced tea, mother effer. This is their view of black people. They think that they're like, you go to a restaurant and they're all yelling, mother effer. You go to a black church and they're gonna rough you up and beat you up. Which white person has gotten beat up at a black church in America? And look at this projection. And I mean, look, it's been happening for time immemorial, right? They bring people chained up, they enslave them, they rape, kill, torture, list goes on, and then they go, they're the violent ones. Watch out for the savages. The black man has a tendency towards violence. After subjecting them to hundreds of years of slavery, people have the audacity to say black men have a tendency towards violence. This guy, in this particular case, today's America, they kicked the crap out of a black guy at a Trump rally, and he goes, well, you know how violent and dangerous the black guys are. I mean, if I went to a black church, not a black gang, not a black church, I'd get beat up. What are you guys so afraid of? You're the one in power. Trump says he's a multi-billionaire. He has $10 billion. You live in West Palm Beach. You wear a bow tie, whatever you do. I got news for you. You're in charge. The black guys getting beat up are not in charge. Maybe that's what you're afraid of. You're used to holding your power and exercising it over others and keeping them down. And you think, well, if they had the power, of course they would do likewise, right? They'd beat me down. I've been beating them down all this time. They would do likewise, right? Apparently not. No. You're just projecting your feelings onto them. He's going to continue.
Look, Donald Trump has been, I went to the Trump rally in Miami. Donald Trump has been very polite with these people. He had some disruptors in Miami, and he said, please don't hurt them, just make them leave, get them out of here, but don't hurt them. So, look, I mean, enough is enough. We're trying to elect a president of the United States here. These guys are just doing this purposely to disrupt. They don't really have a cause they're trying to bring to the forefront. I don't think they really care. If they did, they'd go to Baltimore or they'd go to Chicago. Certainly, once again, being in Birmingham, Alabama, going in and disrupting that thing, that's no place for Black Lives Matter to try to bring their issues to the forefront.
Protesting a guy who's speaking hatefully against minorities in this country in Alabama is not the right place to protest. It almost sounds like the perfect place to protest, doesn't it? When he says, no, enough is enough. You've already spoken out too much. We've heard enough from these people, okay? You know what the real problem is? Black people in South Side of Chicago and in Baltimore. So go talk to black people about not hurting black people. We're used to hurting them, and we don't want to hear from you anymore, okay? Know your role. And if you don't bow your head, this is what you're going to get, and that's that. And well, now we know this is the guy leading Trump's Super-PAC, and Trump himself said, yeah, hey, my fans, they roughed him up. And you know, he was disgusting, so he had it coming.